Jason with Gardner Bender's technical support team, and we're going to be going over the CP8000. Here we have all the parts and accessories for the CP8000, and right here we have the CP8000 fully put together and set up for a downward angle pull with the CP8000 power head assembly and bracket mounted to our adjustment bracket. So before we hit up this, we're going to go over some of our parts here. We have our locking chains. Right now they're set up kind of backwards. We have a few units that would actually use this locking chain. It's supposed to be set up like that. This locking chain is really important. This is only a 2-footer. We have a 6-footer version as well. This is the conduit adapter. And what you would do with this piece is you would connect it just like this. You wouldn't tighten it all the way down, but we're going to do it just because, for demonstration purposes, of course. So that fits in there, and over time you tighten it down, and this would go around a piece of conduit or a pole of some sort. It would fit in here, lock in place, and then you would use this to tighten it down. And that would secure this end if it wasn't secured to another piece of the CP8000. The reason why we're going over this first and not the other conduit adapters is because it's an integral part in the rest of the unit. When we bring it over to the actual conduit adapter we have here, on this side you would mount the motor head assembly, and on this side you would mount it either to the conduit or to a pole, pretty much anywhere where you needed to run conduit. You could mount it here if you wanted to on the conduit going down. You could mount it in a manhole. You could mount the power head in a manhole. You could mount the power head on a piece of conduit. The unit itself is versatile like you wouldn't believe. There are a million ways to set this thing up, and the only downside is that it takes 3 people to set up. So I'm going to show you how to mount the extension to the adjustment mount with just one person, of course. Lay it down this way. Insert our chain. We're only going to do this with one chain. If you were doing this on a piece of conduit with the motor mount assembly, or with this piece, you would do it the same way, and I would recommend not having the motor mount attached to the adjustment mount for safety reasons. It will take longer. I'm going to steer you in the wrong direction. So we're going to flip this around. Now, you are going to want to tighten this to be finger tight at first. Finger tight until you get this piece in place. Wrap this around and lock it in. That's going to hold it down. It's not holding it tight until you start to tighten this. Now, once you get this to be finger tight, You can put the other chain on. And once you have both chains on, you can take a screwdriver or a wrench, and that's part of the reason why this is designed the way that it is, to tighten it down. I'm not going to tighten the other side, but if you look closely to the next one, it's made with slots, so you can use a wrench, like I said, or a flathead screwdriver or a screwdriver in general to make this turn on the chain. So that's pretty much it. You put the next chain on, you tighten it down, and then you set it up against your wall or wherever you're going to be doing the pull. You get 2 more people, and then you mount the motor head, the power head assembly. And if you come closer, you'll notice on here those same slots that you find here. You've got a slot for the chain to lock in and a spot for the head to position. You got that here as well. So you have, this is where the head would go, and this is where the chain would lock in. And that, again, that is so you can put this around, you can put this around conduit, you can put this around, you know, a tree trunk. Again, these are 2-footers. You're going to have the option to get a 6-footer as well. And that's really important so it can be more versatile. If you come around to this side, you see the whole unit set up right here. It's all locked in place. Everything's been tightened down. And we've got our locking pins in place holding the motor on, holding the extension boom on, and the end boom. And the boom is attached to the piece that is the conduit adapter. And we have our rollers. Now we'll go over our rollers a little bit. With the CP8000, you get a hook sheave. All of these rollers are 12 inches. We don't have any others that are of different sizes. So again, another piece of the puzzle that makes the unit more versatile. And then here you have your boom extension and your end piece. Now each one of these pieces, like this one, has a different set of holes here so that you can make more adjustments, so you can change the angle of where this is sitting. It doesn't have to look like that. There's a million different ways to set up the unit. So to start us off, just with the basic stuff, we have our conduit adapters. They have ribs in here so that you can tighten it down on a piece of rigid conduit. We have 3 different sizes, 3, 3.5, and 4-inch. They aren't marked, so you've got to gauge which one's the right one. The thickest one's going to be 3-inch, the next one 3.5, and the thinnest one is going to be your 4-inch. And how these work is once you have it screwed down on top of the conduit, you take your adapter, make sure that it's loose enough, and then you put your conduit adapter on top of it. Conduit adapter has 2 screws on either end, and you tighten them down. And then it's locked in place. Of course, you want to make sure that it's in the right position so that your end piece here will fit on top of it correctly. Now, the way that we have it set up over there is like this. Because it's inside of a conduit box, we want these posts to be on the outside so that it'll line up with these as it comes down. And then this can be adjusted, all depending on where the bend angle is. And in these holes right here, and even right here and right here, you can place pins to add your roller. Makes it pretty easy. You can adjust this all the way down, and you can put it right here as well. On the setup that we have up here, it's on the inside instead of being on the outside rim here, just because of the position of the conduit. We're doing a downward pull, and we don't have a lot of space to move it out this way. It's just the position that we have it set in. And then, so let's take this one apart, and then I'll show you a couple different ways we can set this one up. So this adapter piece here, it isn't necessary, but as you can see behind me, it's very helpful with specific kinds of pulls. This one, we've got it set up with this extension, and it's coming out on a 90-degree angle, where normally you'd probably have to be right up on top of the conduit itself. But this unit, because of the added holes here, you'll be able to set up a roller pretty much on each side. So we'll put a roller here. We'll do another one. Another reason why you want to have two to three people, because it is really difficult to do this stuff on your own. Everything's really heavy, and you don't want to hurt yourself. Safety is key. This is one of the ways that you can set it up. Now imagine this unit like that with an extra pulley point to ease the bend. The pull. And then on top of that being set up this way, you can attach it directly to the conduit, and you don't even need this boom. You don't need the extension. That's a separate way. And you'll find in the manual there is at least 10 or more ways to set this up. Of course, with experience, added experience using the puller, getting used to it, being more comfortable with it, you'll be able to set it up different ways, and you'll be able to do multitudes of different kinds of pulls. One of the pulls, again, that this is most noted for doing is being able to get down into a sewer and doing the pull from within or right from the outside without having to do a whole lot of work. Something that some other pullers just can't do. So the next thing that I want to go over is the actual rope and how it's supposed to be threaded around the capstan. As you can tell, I've already got the rope set up around the capstan. Once you come down, you're going to want to go counterclockwise and wind it all the way around to here. And when you turn the motor on and you start pulling, if it starts to buckle over the other rope pieces and it starts to get tangled, you would ease it off. And you don't have to ease this off, you don't have to turn the puller off, you just have to ease up on the tension that you're holding here. And just like with any kind of puller, you'll want to stand clear of this. So you'd be off to the side, like this, obviously on that side, to stay clear just in case this breaks. Again, safety first. You don't want to be in the way of this rope if it breaks. Same thing if there's cable here. There's going to be a lot of tension on this. Again, this puller's rated for up to 8,000 pounds. It's a lot of pressure coming back at you if the rope snaps. Another add-on that we have is a rope guide. It attaches to the bottom of the motor head assembly, the power head assembly, to guide the rope off to the side to make it easier for you to pull without being in harm's way. So that's pretty much it for our CP8000. The different ways you can set it up. Again, safety first. And in the next few months, or the next coming months, we may put up some more videos on a few different ways of how to set it up. Again, if you have any questions, feel free to give us a call, 1-800-624-4320, option 2 for technical support, or email us at tech.support@gardnerbender.com. Thanks.